So here's my SawStop with a T-Glide fence. I can move it all the way from one end to the other. See how good it slides. Doesn't get sticky in the T-section. Well, whatever you want to call this slot. It doesn't get sticky, doesn't have any slop. See, I'm trying to torque my fence back and forth. You can see it. It doesn't move on the other end at all when I'm doing that. I mean, it obviously does a minimal amount, but it's negligible. To accomplish that, best step would be is to take off your rail. Take this rail, unbolt it from the angle iron that holds it to your table. So first step is make sure this angle iron is perfectly straight from one end of your table to the other. So it's bolted across the front to your tabletop. So you need to take it off and put a piece of tape behind it if the angle iron bows in. Obviously I'm exaggerating, but if it bows in certain spots, you need to get those out. So if you want to put Scotch tape behind that, not Scotch tape, masking tape, just to shim it out. And when you bolt it down, it's perfectly straight. So use a straight edge or a jointed board. That's your first step. Get that perfectly straight. Second step is loosely attach this, your rail to the angle iron. You're going to want, I don't know, probably a 1 inch long by 5/8 of an inch thick by 3/4 of an inch tall board. So I would just cut a 1 foot long board, 5/8 of an inch thick, and then just cut yourself off a 1 inch chunk of it. So you want a 1 inch chunk here. Again, it's going to go in here. 5/8 of an inch measures from here to here. So you're going to put a 1 inch section of it here. Do the same thing down here. And you have that board in there. Try to get it so it's touching the polished section of the rail. So you want to clamp it in there where the polished section is. So you'll clamp that to that. Clamp your rail to your angle iron with that 5/8 of an inch board in there. Do the same thing down here. Tighten your rail to your angle iron. Once you have that done, remove your blocks of wood. And then the next step is to screw out the Allen head. Well, actually you're screwing them in. Screw in the Allen head screws on the back of your T-section. That will in turn push out the glide. So you do that on this side. One pushes here, one pushes here. Push out, it pushes out the glide. So you'll want to get those both screwed in to the point where your T-section doesn't have any slop in your, I guess, rail slot. And then you need your last adjustment is you need to fine tune those back and forth to get your fence so you're happy with where it lines up with your miter slot. So I have mine just a hair that way on the miter slot, so that way I don't pinch my boards in between obviously my fence and my blade. So once you have that set, again, you can see my fence slides super easy in my rail all the way from one end to the other. Doesn't have any slop, any noticeable or measurable slop if you tried to twist it back and forth. So then that allows me to take full advantage of my micro adjuster. So see, I'll shoot for 10 1/4, set it on 10 1/4, and then when you clamp your fence down, it doesn't kick the fence one way or the other.